Welcome back to the Sports Cubicle, everyone. Thank you for staying clocked in with us here. Now, guys, we talked about this last week, and me and Paul, if you were here, we'd be holding hands rejoicing right now. The Atlanta Braves beat the Houston Astros in the World Series, and I don't know about you guys, I got a little worried there towards the end.
I never doubted it at all. I mean, I think I said on this very program, or at least on the program that was on before this program a few months ago, that the Atlanta Braves were my preseason pick and that I was going to stick by them regardless of the struggles. Sure, I might have waffled a little bit in between April and August, or April and September, but this was a team that clearly turned it around once they got the moves that Alex Anthopoulos, their general manager, was able to pull off in the wake of Marcell Ozuna's domestic violence issues and Ronald Acuna Jr.'s torn ACL. It's crazy. I don't know if you guys have seen kind of the memes of, you know, how maybe there was kind of a secret weapon all along helping the Braves, and that was the late Hank Aaron, who passed away at the beginning of this year. It was when Acuna's injury happened, the Braves were 44-44. They had 44 wins before the All-Star break, 44 wins after the All-Star break, and they won the World Series on the 44th week of the calendar year.
That's amazing.
That's pretty crazy.
I love that, and I think that's what makes baseball so freaking romantic, and I love it. And, of course, it all kind of works that way together, and it makes it, with a World Series that nobody thought would be interesting, had a lot of interesting elements in it. And I kind of want to break it down this way about this World Series. And I'll start off with you, Paulie, and then from Marver, from your scouting perspective, and Dev, with this, you're glad that seeing this team over the Astros. We'll start off with Paulie on this one. What do you think you learned in this World Series? Seeing how this Houston team has been put together, knowing how much money has been spent on so many different organizations, knowing how the Braves were just half points in this very season, what do you think you learned in this 2021 World Series between the Astros and Braves?
Well, I think it speaks to a grander, giant picture of what the 2021 season was. I think, you know, it ended on the strongest starting pitching start of the series, and that was Max Fried getting to the 6th inning. And it's just, the game has changed in the sense that you're going to see more relievers. You're going to see managers trying to play the matchups a little bit more, but still being handcuffed to the 3-batter minimum rule. But I think you're also seeing, and no one's really talking about this, ramping up from the shortened pandemic season with only 60 games into a full season. You saw guys falling apart down the stretch. You know, Max Scherzer getting a dead arm when he could have helped his team in the NLCS for the Dodgers, you know, and then you saw Lance McCullers go down, and that would have been a big factor. Of course, Charlie Morton wasn't an arm issue, but he got injured. So both of these teams starting pitching was decimated by the end of it. I think there were 2 games in this series where the Braves had to throw up rookies, including guys that one guy in Tucker Davidson that I think only made like a couple appearances earlier in this season and was sitting at a hotel in Georgia when he got the call in Texas that he was going to be flown out to pitch in the next game of the series. So it was the survival of the strongest. The Braves just happened to be that team. And I think if the Astros would have gotten to Max Fried, Game 7 would have been really interesting with a possible Zach Greinke start, but I wouldn't have expected Greinke to go more than about 5 innings in that game if it happened.
Make sure you check out Paul's complete breakdown of the World Series, and he's going to keep his fingers on the pulse throughout the entire offseason, the winter meetings, on the Baseball Weekend Journal. Make sure you guys check him out there. Marver, what did you learn from this World Series, from these playoffs, and what is a win for the Atlanta Braves, another championship from them? What did you learn from the 2021 World Series?
I mean, leading up to it, I was surprised. I mean, the Braves had to play the Brewers, Dodgers, both of whom had way better records. The Braves played in a division where their only challenge was the Phillies, and I don't think anybody was above 500 except for them, as it turned out. So they looked like perhaps the weakest team in the National League playoffs, but they were hot at the right time. And I believe the most valuable player was a guy named Georgie Soler. and I did the research. The Cubs got Wade Davis for him. So, yeah, that's interesting, too. But it's just, the way the Astros look to me, I mean, I watched all the games that they played against Chicago and the games that they played, in the playoffs, and they looked like a stronger team. So, I mean, it was surprising to me that the Braves prevailed based upon the fact that they got hot at the right time, basically. I mean, the Astros could do no wrong. throughout most of the playoffs. They were hitting it where they ain't and all that kind of good stuff, and the pitching was good. So, it just goes to show you, if you get hot at the right time, like I said, that's what matters in the playoffs.
Devin, what did you learn in this World Series?
I'm going to agree with Marver there. Definitely, I believe the Braves are hot at the right time. But now I'm going to take what Paul would call a hot take, what Mercado would call a garbage take here. But what I learned a lot is I was very interested in the 2020 season with no fans, because that was right after the Houston scandal came out. And I'm like, I'm curious how it'll be back when there's fans. And if you were at the White Sox games, listening to these games on TV against the Astros, you heard, F. Altuve, I'm not going to say the actual word, through the crowd. They were booed by cussed out by fans. And they still managed to come out and win. So, I mean, even despite all the negative publicity and negative chants from teams, they still were able to put on good performance and shut these crowds up. I thought for sure winning the 2021 World Series would have been your greatest accomplishment. No, I think, well, they lost it, obviously, but that was their greatest accomplishment, proving people, unless there is still that, whistling cheating scandal that people say. I don't know. I'm going to pretend like there's nothing going on because I don't think there is. But again, I'm very happy as the Atlanta Braves. I did not want to be Houston, despite Houston seeming like they were the better team. Like they seemed unstoppable in this playoffs, and I did not want that because they beat my White Sox. But very happy for the Atlanta Braves. I thought for sure we're going to go into Game 7, and I was even more worried the Braves are going to fall feet to the you blew a 3-1 lead sports meme we see throughout the entire sports community.
Well, they took care of business, and Houston doesn't get another World Series. And Jock Peterson and that kid known as Jorge Soler are world champions once again.